Imagine, during an excavation, when everyone was hoping to find just a little gold, Dustin Hurt took a huge risk beyond anyone else's ability. This excavation wasn't easy. Every day loomed in the fear of death, and one wrong move could cost them their lives. Beneath the water, mud, and rocks lay something untraceable for centuries. But Dustin never gave up and continued to work tirelessly with his team. For the first few days, only small pieces of gold were found, which began to demoralize the team. Everyone thought that despite all this hard work, nothing significant would be found. But Dustin had a strange feeling that something significant was hidden beneath. And then came the moment that changed everyone's life. When the machine's bucket came up with the soil, something glittering was visible inside, and everyone's breath stopped. When the soil was cleared, what was revealed stunned everyone. Gold worth $50 million. Yes, a treasure worth a whopping $50 million. This discovery made Dustin Hurt not just a gold miner, but a legend in the world of gold mining. But the question now is this just the beginning? Or is there a bigger secret hidden behind this? Be sure to watch the video to the end to find out the full story. And yes, if you enjoy exciting videos like this, be sure to subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon so you never miss an update. The name Dustin Hurt conjures up a unique image of the world of gold mining. Dustin is no ordinary miner. He's a man who forged his own path. From childhood, he was drawn to a life of adventure and danger. His family was also involved in gold mining, so from an early age, he witnessed the hardships and labor of mining. This is what deeply ingrained his passion for gold. Dustin's life wasn't always easy. He faced setbacks. Sometimes his team abandoned him, and sometimes lack of money jeopardized his dreams. But each time, instead of giving up, he decided to work harder. People said that Dustin was very stubborn because he never gave up until he reached his goal. This persistence set him apart from other gold miners. Dustin believed that finding gold wasn't just a means of earning money, but a part of his soul. Every time he set out to dig at a new location, he had one thought. This time, I'll find something no one has ever seen before. This thought kept him going, no matter how difficult the circumstances. His team, inspired by this same thought, stuck with him. In the world of gold mining, Dustin is seen as a man who isn't afraid to take risks. He makes decisions that others might consider crazy, but it's this very craziness that makes him a legend. Dustin's story isn't just about finding gold, but about making his dreams come true. That's why, whenever he starts a new excavation, people eagerly await what Dustin will uncover this time. Risk and decision. This excavation for Dustin Hurt was no ordinary project. This time, the stakes were enormous. First, there was the financial risk. He had to raise millions of dollars to begin excavating this site. Renting machinery, paying the team, and other excavation expenses, all of this combined put his entire savings at stake. If nothing was found, not only would his money be lost, but his reputation would also be tarnished. The physical risk was even greater. The ground where he was excavating was extremely unstable. There were strong currents of water beneath the soil that could erupt at any moment. One wrong move, and the entire team could be swept away by water and mud. Heavy machinery, slippery surfaces, and constantly falling stones. Danger loomed every second. Many team members were scared and wondered if this was the right thing to do. Tension was rising within the team as well. Some believed that this site held no sign of any great treasure, and that it was all just Dustin's dream that could endanger everyone. There were arguments, sometimes angry exchanges, but Dustin pacified everyone. He clearly stated that if they gave up now, the opportunity would be lost forever. He promised to take responsibility himself and convince the team that this risk was necessary. That turning point was crucial. Everyone was skeptical, the atmosphere was tense, but Dustin's confidence was at a different level. He made the final decision. "We will proceed, no matter what." And the team agreed. From that moment, the excavation was no longer just a search for treasure, but a test of the team's courage and faith. Description of the site. The excavation site was nothing less than a scene from a movie. Dense forest surrounded it, a swampy area in the middle, and mysterious gold hidden beneath. Sunlight barely reached the ground through the trees. The morning fog and a slight coolness added to the mysterious atmosphere. As soon as the machines were started, mud and dust filled the air, making it difficult to breathe. The site was extremely dangerous. The ground was so wet and slippery that machines would often sink into the mud. The team had to work for hours to get them out. On top of that, there was the constant fear that the ground might suddenly cave in. The team often had to stop work because of strange noises coming from the soil, as if something was moving underneath. The weather also became their enemy. Sometimes it would rain heavily, sometimes cold winds would suddenly blow. Working on the site during the rains became extremely dangerous. The water would fill the pits and deepen, causing the machines to sink. During such times, the team had to risk their lives to save the machinery. They often had to work at night, and digging in the dark with the help of dim torchlight created a unique fear. The site was constantly noisy. The rumble of heavy machinery, the sound of flowing water, and the screams of people all created a tense atmosphere. Sometimes the noise would be so loud that the team members could not even speak to each other properly. But through it all, Dustin's focus was on one thing: finding the treasure buried beneath. Every member of the team was sweating. Some were operating the machines, some were digging out soil, and some were climbing down to assess the danger. Exhaustion was evident on their faces, but so was a glimmer of hope. Every time a new piece emerged from the ground, everyone's eyes reflected both fear and excitement. When the sun's rays shone through the dust and dirt, it seemed as if a faint glow of gold was spread all around. This sight forced the team to forget their fatigue. But at the same time, the sound of thunder in the distance reminded everyone how dangerous this place was. One small mistake, and everything could be over. Working at this site wasn't easy, but it was the very place that had inspired Dustin and his team to dream of finding the world's largest gold mine. That's why, despite all the difficulties and dangers, no one was willing to back down, because everyone had the same thought in their hearts. If we find this treasure, then this discovery will be recorded in history. Initial discoveries and a loss of despair. The beginning of an excavation is always filled with excitement. On the first day, when the machines were turned on and the soil was pulled up, every member of the team was brimming with hope. Everyone believed that as soon as they reached a certain depth, they would find large pieces of gold. But the reality was quite different. After many hours of hard work, when the first bucket came up, it contained only wet soil and small stones. The next few days passed in a similar fashion. The team occasionally found small gold particles among the soil, which looked good, but their value was not enough to justify the entire project. Initially, everyone took this for granted, as this is common in gold mining. But as the days passed and no significant gold was found, the team's morale began to wane. Conversations began among the team. "Maybe this place isn't what Dustin thinks," someone would say. Some continued to work silently, while others' faces clearly showed anger and disappointment. Dustin tried to motivate the team, But gradually the wall of suspicion grew higher. The news began to spread to the outside world. On social media and in local news, people began discussing why Dustin had invested his entire savings on a project that might never succeed. Some veteran miners even taunted that this was just a search for fool's gold. These rumors reached the team, further weakening their confidence. The weather was also unfavorable. Heavy rain and cold winds made the work even more difficult. The excavation had to be interrupted several times, and each time this happened, the team became even more disheartened. Many members began to think it would be better to turn back. Fatigue, fear, and despair were clearly visible in their eyes. It seemed as if all the hard work would be in vain. The team's cheerful spirit had vanished. Now, the only sounds heard at the site were the hum of machines and the occasional exclamation of frustration. But through it all, there was still a faint glimmer of hope in Dustin's eyes. Dustin's inner faith. Dustin's faith was unwavering. He knew there was something special about this place, even if he hadn't found proof yet. He repeatedly consulted site maps and old records, paying attention to excavation patterns. He had noticed some small clues, a strange color to the soil, a sudden disappearance of water, and some stones that were different in shape. These clues convinced Dustin that something big lurked deep within. He wouldn't share this with his team, as he didn't want them to rely solely on his guesses. But his conviction grew stronger. At night, when everyone else was asleep, Dustin would sit alone at the site, thinking. The gentle hum of the machines, the howl of the wind, and the silence all around made him more determined. He would tell himself, "I didn't put in all this effort and risk just to come back empty-handed. There's something here, and I'm going to find it." Sometimes he would speak softly to a few close members of his team, explaining that it wouldn't be right to give up just yet. He would share his small observations, like, "Did you see that the soil's color is different? This is a sign that there's something down there." These words would give the team strength, even if only for a short while, to try again. Despite the team's doubts and pressure, Dustin's courage remained unshaken. He believed that sometimes, to find great treasure, you have to trust your heart, even if everyone calls you crazy. Throughout this period, Dustin maintained a deep peace within himself. He appeared strong to the team, but deep inside, he prayed every moment that his faith would be vindicated. This was his strength. He never showed his fears, instead setting an example of hope and courage for everyone. And that was the moment when he decided that no matter how difficult the circumstances, he wouldn't back down. Because he was sure that the treasure buried below would change the fate of him and his team. Breakthrough moment. After a tiring day, as the team began operating the machine for the final round, the atmosphere became eerily quiet. The sky was slowly darkening, and a cool breeze was blowing. The machine's bucket was slowly descending deeper into the ground. Everyone's eyes were fixed on the bucket, but there was no great expectation. As for the past several days, they had only found soil and stones. The machine's rumble gradually grew louder, and then suddenly the bucket began to pull upward. This time, its motion was slightly different, as if something heavy had been lifted from below. Every team member stood in their place, and a strange silence suddenly fell over the site. The combination of the sound of the wind, the noise of the machine, and the team's heartbeats made the moment even more thrilling. As the bucket reached the top and the first sight was seen, everyone's breath stopped. Something shining in the soil was visible. Initially, it seemed to be a trick, perhaps a large stone reflected by light. But as the mud fell, the glow grew brighter. Some team members screamed, others covered their mouths with their hands. The feeling of that moment is hard to describe. Everyone remained completely silent for a few seconds, as if time had stopped. Then suddenly, voices echoed, "Wait, lower it slowly." Dustin himself stepped forward and took a closer look at the bucket. His eyes were filled with a mixture of surprise and joy. That was the moment when the first major sign of years of hard work became apparent. Tears welled up in the eyes of some team members. Some were laughing, others were simply busy removing the mud. This single discovery rekindled the courage of the entire team. It felt as if a new ray of hope had descended from the sky. Treasure revealed. When the bucket was slowly lowered, the team began to carefully clean out the mud it contained. Everyone stood with bated breath, some bending over the machine to remove dirt, others using torches to shine a light. As the dirt was removed, the true treasure slowly began to reveal its full form. The first thing that was visible was a huge piece of gold. It was shaped like a large stone, but its surface shone with the glow of molten gold. Small gold nuggets were also scattered around it. The entire area glowed, as if someone had released a fountain of light. The golden light of the gold fell on the team's faces, making their expressions appear even more profound and dramatic. Dustin immediately picked up the large piece and weighed it in his hands. It was so heavy that it was difficult to lift it alone. It was estimated that this one piece alone would be worth several $100,000. As the remaining gold was revealed, everyone's eyes widened further. This was no longer just a discovery. It had become a part of history. After collecting the entire treasure, the team estimated its value. Everyone was astonished by the initial figures. A treasure worth approximately $50 million. This wasn't just the value of gold, but the unraveling of a centuries-old mystery. This discovery proved that Dustin's faith was right, and the risk he had taken hadn't been in vain. All the team members jumped for joy. Some embraced and cried, while others simply stood there, their eyes barely comprehending the moment. Dustin closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and looked up at the sky. His eyes shone with satisfaction and pride. This moment was the greatest triumph of his life. After this, an atmosphere of excitement erupted at the site. The news spread through social media and local news, but at that moment, the team cared for nothing else. For them, this wasn't just a treasure, but the fruit of their hard work, faith, and dreams. Dustin looked at the team and said, "We did it." A mix of pride and emotion was evident in his voice. Together, they secured the treasure and decided to fully understand the evidence and history before unveiling it to the world. This discovery not only made Dustin a legend in the world of gold mining, but also proved that sometimes the greatest treasure isn't just hidden beneath the soil. It's hidden in the courage and faith of the team. Scientist, geology explainer. To understand Dustin and his team's discovery more fully, we need to go back a little, millions of years ago, when this area was completely different. Scientists believe this site was once home to a massive river and glacier. Over time, strong currents and shifting ice created deep fissures, depositing soil, rocks, and minerals within them. Gold often accumulates in places where water flow suddenly slows. When the river's current is strong, it sweeps away soil and small stones. But where the water slows, heavier materials like gold flakes settle to the bottom. This explains why gold was hidden deep in some parts of Dustin's site. Experts noted that the color and texture of the soil at this site were unusual. This indicated that multiple layers had formed at different times. Some layers were thousands of years old, and gold had accumulated naturally. And most interestingly, the gold pieces found at this site were unusually large. Such large pieces are not typically found in open areas. Scientists believe that the melting of a glacier and the collision of a fast-flowing river created a special pocket where the gold gradually accumulated. This place became a natural vault, preserving this treasure for centuries. This is why this discovery is not only an economic miracle, but also a significant piece of evidence for geology. Reaction of the team and community. As soon as the treasure was revealed, celebrations erupted within the team. Faces that had been filled with fatigue and despair for the past several weeks now reflected only joy and pride. Some were shouting loudly, others were laughing in the mud, and others were wiping away tears of happiness. It felt as if the burden of years had been lifted in an instant. Dustin himself stood quietly, absorbing the joy around him. There was satisfaction in his eyes, but also a deep sense of responsibility. He knew this wasn't just his victory, but the result of the entire team's hard work. He hugged each member and said, "We all did this together. This isn't just my treasure, it's ours." The team's celebration wasn't confined to the site. As soon as the news got out, the local community erupted. People gathered outside the site. Some cheered and clapped. Others simply stood and watched. Some veteran miners who had previously doubted Dustin now openly praised him. The news spread like wildfire on social media. Hashtags like Dustin Hurt, gold discovery, and Dustin's 50 million treasure began trending on Twitter. People were sharing video clips, creating memes, and offering their own theories. Some called it the greatest discovery of the 21st century, while others jokingly wrote, "Now Dustin should be made the president of gold mining." News channels began live coverage. Dustin's interviews began airing on TV. Reporters stood outside the site, describing how dangerous and exciting the discovery was. People from all over the world tuned in to watch the news. The atmosphere around the site became like a festival. Children came with their parents. Local food stalls were set up, and people lined up just to get a glimpse. This discovery was no longer just about gold. It had become a historic event that united the entire community. "We didn't just find gold. We vindicated our hard work and faith," a team member said in an interview. There was a sparkle in his eyes and pride in his voice. This moment was etched in everyone's hearts forever. For Dustin, this wasn't just a victory. It was proof that when you believe in yourself and your team, no treasure in the world is impossible. Economic and legal impact. When Dustin and his team discovered a treasure worth $50 million, it would not only change their lives, but also have a significant impact on the region's economy and law and order. Such a significant discovery immediately raised numerous legal questions. The first question was, who owns this treasure? According to law, ownership of treasure found on land where excavation is conducted can be divided into several parts. This includes the landowner, the excavation team, and the government. Determining who would get what share was not easy. In some cases, the government can claim the entire discovery, especially if the treasure is of historical significance. As soon as news of the treasure spread, local administration and government officials immediately arrived at the site. They increased security to prevent theft or misappropriation. They also asked Dustin's team for a record of all the gold pieces and documents. This was to provide evidence of what was found. The financial impact was also significant. The sudden arrival of such a large amount of gold could have impacted the gold price. Experts argued that if this gold were sold directly, its value would significantly benefit the local economy. It would create new employment opportunities in the surrounding area, boost tourism, and increase people's incomes. However, all this was only possible if the legal process was clear and transparent. To this end, the government decided to sell a portion of the treasure through auction. The remaining portion would be given to museums and historical institutions so that people could view it and understand the significance of the discovery. This decision sparked debate among the public. Some wanted Dustin and his team to have the entire treasure, while others believed it was everyone's property and should be used for public use. This debate continues, but it is certain that the discovery shook the economy of the entire region. Theories and conflicts. As news of the treasure spread, people began to formulate various theories. Some historians believed that the gold dates back hundreds of years, to the time when early explorers and traders passed through the area. They suggested that the treasure was likely part of an ancient trade route that was later buried by natural disasters. Some others linked it to a more mysterious story. They believed the gold belonged to a secret community from ancient times who had hidden their wealth and fled. Some old records also mention a specific group active in the area that traded gold and used unusual methods to keep their treasure secret. More interesting theories emerged on social media. Some argued that the discovery wasn't just gold, but part of a larger conspiracy. They believed the government was concealing the treasure's true history. Some even suggested that the site contained more than just gold, but also mysterious objects whose information was being withheld from the public. Amidst all this, some contradictory reports also emerged. A local newspaper claimed that the full extent of the original discovery had not yet been revealed. They stated that what Dustin's team had revealed was only a fraction of the discovery, and that the true treasure was still hidden deep within. Government officials, on the other hand, dismissed these claims and stated that the entire discovery would be made public in a transparent manner. These theories and controversies fueled the atmosphere. People constantly questioned, do we really know the whole story? Or are there some things that only a select few know? Dustin didn't elaborate on this. He simply said, "Our job was to find, and we did it. The rest of the truth will be revealed with time." This statement further mystified the public. This discovery not only revealed a treasure of gold, but also opened a new door to speculation and mystery. It was no longer just a discovery, but a puzzle between history and the present, one that will likely take years to solve. What changes? This discovery, Dustin's discovery, didn't just uncover a treasure. It changed the entire world of gold mining. Now, people will see Dustin not just as a gold miner, but as someone who made the impossible possible. His success will set an example for generations to come. This discovery will also have a profound impact on the gold industry. New investors and explorers will be inspired to explore even more unexplored areas. Governments and major businesses will consider investing in new projects inspired by this discovery. The impact will not only be limited to Dustin's team, but will also extend to the entire global gold mining industry. And the biggest change is that people will now turn their attention to places previously considered impossible. This discovery proves that with the right technology, courage, and faith, any secret hidden deep within the earth can be uncovered. Dustin not only discovered gold, but also showed what can happen when you believe in dreams. This discovery will be written in golden letters in the history of gold mining for years to come. So friends, this was the story of the discovery that made Dustin and his team legends. But the question is, does this story end here? Or are there even bigger secrets hidden beneath the earth, yet to be revealed? If you think there are more mysteries behind this discovery, please let us know your opinion in the comments. Is this just a story about gold? Or could there be a deeper conspiracy behind it? Like the video, share it, and yes, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because next time we'll show you footage of Dustin's team digging in a new and even more dangerous area. Who knows? Next time, they might find not just gold, but something else that will shake history. Stay tuned, because this journey of exciting stories isn't over yet. This is just the beginning. The real story is yet to come.